In a world that's always racing forward, sometimes we need to slow down and reconnect.
Connect genuinely, broaden your perspective, and share your passion.
BONA FIDE Dialogues, where authenticity, creativity, and passion merge. Steve Napolitan is a #1 international best-selling author, award-winning marketer, and international speaker. He has made millions from his clients and has worked with companies such as Apple, Intel, Charles Schwab, and Nestle. Steve went from overworked, stressed out, beyond burnout, working 80-plus hour weeks to less than 40 hours now, and living the life he dreamed with his wife and children. Then he found himself paralyzed within a matter of days from Guillain-Barré syndrome. His recovery has brought more blessings than losses and brought more light to his more business, more life philosophy. Steve typically works with entrepreneurs and CEO founders who have found success but are not living the life they desire. He's helped his clients reach millions in additional revenue while helping them design the life they want and live it now. This may sound too good to be true, yet Steve says this is not a silver bullet, not a magic pill, nor a 6-minute ab workout. We still work. We just work smarter, not harder. You can reach him through stevenapolitan.com.
If you're facing challenges and perhaps even rebuilding your life, this episode might resonate with you. Steve and I will discuss the paradoxes of rebuilding life, finding strength in vulnerability, reclaiming your own identity while seeking support, adapting to new circumstances, and taking action while practicing patience.
But I've had several big changes in my life, like you're talking about. But the most recent one was in 2021. I was completely paralyzed, well, almost completely. My face, arms, and legs, and it was going into my lungs, the lung muscles as well, before it turned and started to improve. And it was Guillain-Barré syndrome that came into my life. And it was not a very scary time. I have 3 children and my wife and our family. And when you come to that severe of a medical issue, and I had never had any medical issues that large before, never been really sick or anything, never been hospitalized ever. This is the first time this ever happened in my life, and I hope the only time. But there were moments when I thought in my mind, is this the end? Am I going to die? Because I'm losing every day for a period for 7 days. It got worse and worse, and I was losing control of my body. So tears were shed, and it was scary. And luckily, the big thing is the 10 years prior, a little bit more than 10 years, I had been studying psychology, and I started meditating in 2008. So I had many years of mindset practice. And in that moment, when I thought maybe I'm going to die, I thought about my children. I thought about the things that I want to do, the people that I want to help, the things that I want to contribute on this earth. And I said, no. I actually remember the moment in my mind that I said, no, I'm not.
You made that decision.
I did. I decided that I'm not going to die.
We think there's always tomorrow, and we don't know. We really don't know.
People think that when you ask for help, it's weakness, but I think it's courage, because it actually takes some courage. It takes being humble to say, I don't know how to deal with this. Can you help me? And so very much so, I had to be willing to be helped. It was like being a baby again. I had to have people feed me. I could not feed myself. Even as embarrassing as this is to go to the bathroom and everything. It was, and even I remember when I first started to eat again, I couldn't burp. My wife had to pat my back like a baby
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my gosh, you are a baby again. I couldn't birth, like all of the whole body was coming back. And so it is that
Such a blessing to have your wife next to you, to have such a wonderful partner who could support you through this difficult time.
it brought us closer together
Yeah.
for sure. And it
Asking
was,
for help is, I think, hard for many, many people. I find it difficult too, but I actually also found that people love to help. It makes them feel so good.
I ended up taking almost a 2-year sabbatical, 2 years without working. And I've always been doing, right? Always
Yeah.
doing and making things better. And although I do it smarter now, even before I was paralyzed,
Yeah.
it was a gift. It's crazy to say. So you might think, and your audience might think, wow, this guy is crazy. It's a gift to be paralyzed. Well, it woke me up because I couldn't work. So I had to give my company to my team, say, hey, here, take it. I didn't even say that. My wife did, because my face was paralyzed. So I couldn't even call them. She's like, Steve's in the hospital. You have to take care of the company. And they did. What a blessing. So my team took on the company, and my company still is going right now,
This
and
is so
even better than it
important.
used to.
Yeah. And I wanted to talk about adaptability, because, when your life changes so fast, like you said, and so much in so many different ways, you have to adapt to this new life, new you, right? And anyone, like we said, we're talking about you, but I think that everyone who listens to this podcast episode can relate, because everyone, at least once, like you said, in their lifetime, been in a situation where they felt like the world is falling apart, and they have to adapt. You lost your job, you need to adapt. You got divorced, you need to adapt to a new environment, new life. And I don't remember who said that, but adaptability, the skill, is very, very important. They say that not the smartest survives, not the strongest, but the one who can adapt.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that? What did you find most difficult about adapting to this new lifestyle that you had to embrace somehow, because you have no choice?
Yeah.
This is what you have to deal with on your everyday basis and hope for change, right? But you have to adapt every day.
Yes. It is difficult to bring, but I will say I had dark moments, sad moments, painful moments, but I didn't have any dark, maybe even dark days, sad days, but I never had a dark week. And that happens because I was very well trained. So for about 10 years, I was able to study under Carl Buchheit, in the realm of psychology. And you're absolutely right. Like, when we're rigid, if you think of something with no flexibility, if the wind blows, it breaks. But if a tree is flexible, it will blow in the wind and it will survive. And so I think it's not about our rigidness, it's not about our strength. And I think that's where it becomes challenging for people. And it did for me. At moments, you try to hold strong, and then there's a resistance to that, and then it actually causes more pain. And so what I actually did is the opposite. I have to accept. So the first part, when it's the human experience, is accepting. And so the way Carl Buchheit puts it, that I teach very often, I share this knowledge very often, and I love to share it here on your podcast. But when we do not get what we want, right? So I did not want to be paralyzed. That wasn't something that I chose or put on my vision board or, asked to come into my life. But when it came, I had to be willing to take it. What happens when we prolong our pain is we resist it. We say, I don't want this, push it away. And we're not having the flexibility to accept that this is coming in my life. But here's where Carl is very genius about it. If you take what you get, no matter what it is, if it's good, bad, or ugly. Now I can say, okay, okay, this came in my life. What would I like now? And so then we can actually ask for what we want next. And so if you think about the opposite real fast, just to compare, if I had this come and then I say, I don't want it, it's almost like a child throwing a tantrum, right? And we do this as adults. It might not look like we're throwing our arms up in the air, but we're like, no, thank you. But it's inevitable, right? These things come into our life, like you said, like losing a job, becoming unwell, losing a loved one, they pass away, or having wars, or all these things that are not necessarily in our control. Then we have to accept and take that and then say, what would I like? And what it does is it brings choice. It brings the next step. It brings back life. So when a tree dies, it falls back into the dirt and then new life comes. But if we hold the tree from going into the dirt because we say, I don't want this, then it can't come back and regenerate new. So in my life, because I accepted being paralyzed, I believe I healed faster. I think my doctors didn't like me. They did not like me because I was thinking differently. So I'll tell you this too. I met a man now that got what I had in 2003, and he still cannot walk. I met another man that had it 6 years before me, and he still struggled. I just met a woman in December. So what is that, like 5-6 months ago? And from the time we're recording this, and she 8 years, and she still has to wear gloves to type on a keyboard because her fingertips. So 8 years. For me, this is only 2.5 years right now. And my recovery is so strong, I think, for 2 reasons. One, mindset,
I'm
and
so
2,
happy to hear that. That's wonderful.
thank you. It's mindset, and I did not. The reason I say my doctors didn't like me is many of them, and I talked to different ones, and I had many different doctors, and the thing at the beginning was that they wanted me to take a lot of drugs, a lot of pharmaceuticals, right? And I said no. And it was silly things too. Like they said, oh, you need to take ulcer medicine and all these medicines. And I said, I do not have ulcers. And they said, oh, but you could get it. And then I said, well, I'm not going to take that. And so I started saying no to those things. And I did sign to leave the hospital early because they did not want me to go. But I set up my own hospital bed at my house. I got my own practitioners, and I went more with the holistic way to heal. And luckily, I was blessed enough to have the resources to do this. I know not everyone listening to this may have those opportunities, but our health matters. And what happened one of the days is I did take one of the drugs that they wanted, and then I slept the whole day. I didn't do my physical therapy. I didn't do anything. And I also lost my mind. I could not think, and
so many side effects, right?
Yes. And there was a man, well, last quick thing to the story. There's a man in 1981, in March of 1981. He's called the Miracle Man. He Morris Goodman, I believe his name. It was March of 1981. He crashed a plane, and his body was shattered, hips shattered, legs mangled, completely destroyed his lungs. They were going to unplug him from the machines, and they were talking to his family, and he blinked his eyes. In Morse code, I'm going to walk out of this hospital. And one of the nurses saw the code and shared with the family. So they said, we're going to leave him plugged into the machines. And he said, I'm going to walk out of here before Christmas of the same year. So he crashed in March. And before Christmas of that year, 1981, I believe it was, or 1983, it was either 83 or 81, I can't remember. He did it. And I saw a little clip of him in The Secret, the movie, The Secret, and the book. And he's in there. And when I was in the hospital and I was paralyzed, and they did tell me, like they said, sometimes people don't recover from this. We have no medicine. There's no exact medicine to heal this. We think these things help, but it's not proven.
Yeah.
There was no real like, there was no like, oh, take this and you'll be all better. There was none of that. And so there was only hope. And so when I had that, I said, wow, if that man could regrow his lungs like a lizard regrows its tail, then I can get better. And so that's where I could not take the drugs because then I could not think. And if I can't think, I can't meditate and be with my body.
Meet my turtle.
Oh, beautiful.
No, she just ate strawberry. Her
That's
name
so
is
beautiful.
Tiara. I read a little bit about turtles on your website. Here you go. What does it mean to you?
You know, that is so beautiful. You have a live turtle. Maybe that'll be my next step. Mine is a piece of art, but it is, I grew up in Silicon Valley, you know, and in the San Francisco Bay Area or San Jose area, it is go, 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 go. It's very fast. Technology changes so fast. And so all my life, it was go, 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 more business, go, 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 go. And so I had to consciously choose to slow down. And when I first heard the Chinese proverb, it says, slow is fast. It actually says that slow is fast. And when I first heard that, I thought, that is ridiculous. Like, that's like, that does not sound smart. But now I see the wisdom, because when you're running 100 miles an hour, or, you know, as fast as you can, you're going to break some things. You're going to miss some turns. You're going to miss some things that bring wisdom. So for me, the turtle represents slowing down so that we can see more. It actually brings wisdom. And I mean, we should know the tortoise and the hare, that so many wise people have told that story, you know, slow and steady. And
with
one
your
of my cousins,
recovery, and with your recovery, you have to take this step by step, day by day, right?
it is. It's 100%. So I had my really good friend who is a Feldenkrais practitioner, Yayoi Lewis. I would not have walked as soon within, so it's August, September, October. So by November, so 4 months, I was able to walk first with a cane, and then but here's the saying she had when I first started to move. She said, Steve, if you want to be a good walker, you must be a great stander. You have to just learn to stand up, and we forget. So I had to first learn to sit up in the bed. Then I had to sit on the edge of the bed. Then I had to stand up. Then you can walk. And the first time I tried to walk, I was so excited that I could take a step. I took 3 steps away from the bed, and then 3 steps back really fast, and fell on the bed. And then it took 2.5 days to recover. I could not get out of the bed for 2.5 days because those 6 steps was too much. That day I should have not done that. And so I had to remember, and that's why I have these turtles in my life. I need to remember to slow down.
Your family, when something tragic or difficult happens, something with somebody's health, in this situation with your health, attention is on you, but it's also so difficult for people around you, right? How do they get help? How do they get this energy to keep going?
That I don't know if I can answer that as well, but I can put myself in the position when I've helped my loved ones. You know, it is like a release. Luckily, there's 5 of us in our family unit, and so, and my kids are not that young now. So in 2021, then, you know, my oldest would be 16 and my youngest was 11. So they were big enough to help. And
Mhm.
like my team for my company, my team stepped up to another level to run the company.
Mm.
My family stepped up to another level to run the house. My son took things on that dad did, like lifting heavy things, or, we get spring water in glass bottles and it's very heavy. And he brought those in, and the things that maybe we never even tried because maybe I was too worried that one would break, or something like that. So even how I was overprotective, this gave freedom for them to be older, to embrace things. My son cooked more while my wife was attending to me. He took care of his sisters.
It's
There's
amazing.
so
Yeah.
many gifts that would not have been able to be there. They all had to be to grow. So
Yes.
everyone grew in that. And I think how did they get help? I think it was the unit itself. I don't
Mm.
know what it would be like if it was just my wife and I think
Yeah.
my wife would have been overly exhausted,
Yeah.
it,
It's emotionally and physically when you want to help the loved ones, and there's so much you can do.
and one other thing, our friends.
Mm.
Immediately, my wife called her best friends, and she had a whole mom research group. Like they were all researching what I
Moms
had.
are
Like,
heroes.
yeah,
Yeah.
they all jumped in. It gives me tingles, and
Yeah.
blessings to all you
Yeah.
women out there that were there,
Yeah.
and the men too. But
Yeah.
this is a very big point in all my life. And if we all think, and if we're really honest with ourselves, and me being really honest right now, until this moment where I was paralyzed, I actually would have days where I would say, "Am I loved? Am I good enough? Am I worth anything to anyone else? Do people really, really love me? Do they really love me?" And having this experience and seeing all the people that came to help my family and my family itself, I can sit here
You
and
feel
know in
loved.
my heart,
Yeah.
I know in my heart right now that I am loved.
That's amazing. That's what gives you so much energy to share that love of the world, to share this love of so many people that you're helping all the time.
Steve has a free More Business, More Life newsletter, and you can text message WOW to 72000 or go to stevenapolitan.com.